I'm a broke guy dating a millionaire's daughter, and somehow we're making it work. I met Ava at a self-serve waffle bar. Seriously. It was one of those places where you pour your own batter, flip your own waffle, and try not to burn your fingers. I was there on my one Saturday off, wearing a hoodie with a hole in the sleeve and jeans that had definitely seen better days. She was behind me in line, wearing leggings, sneakers, and an oversized UCLA hoodie. "You ever actually flip these things right?" she asked. 50-50 chance, I said. "Depends on the alignment of the stars." She laughed. I burned my waffle. We shared a table, talked about movies. She said she was studying political science and hated it. I said I was between schools and working full-time in maintenance at a hospital just to keep my lights on. She didn't flinch. She didn't do that rich person thing where they go quiet when you say you're broke. She just asked if I liked the job. I told her it sucked. That made her laugh again. I didn't know her last name. I didn't know who her dad was. Not until our third date. She invited me over to her house to watch a movie. I pulled up in my rusty Civic and stopped breathing when I saw the gates. Tall, black iron gates with a guard. A guard. The guy at the entrance scanned my license and said, "You here for Ava?" Yeah. He called it in. The gates opened. I drove up a winding driveway to a literal mansion, like columns and fountains and hedges trimmed into swans. I parked and just stared. Ava came out laughing. "You look like you're about to pass out. I thought you lived in an apartment or something." "Technically, I have an apartment over the garage." I blinked. "My dad's place," she added. "I didn't want to freak you out." Too late. She hugged me. "It's just money. You're fine." And somehow I was. I walked in. Her dad wasn't home. Her mom barely looked up from her phone. We watched Interstellar in a home theater the size of my apartment building. That night I asked her, "Why me? Seriously?" She smiled. "Because you're honest. Because you didn't try to impress me. Because you're real." I didn't know what to say to that. No one had ever said that to me before. I went home in my beat-up Civic, but I swear I felt like I was driving a Rolls Royce. 2 weeks later, she told me her dad wanted to meet me. "You don't have to," she said, stirring her coffee nervously. "But he's asking questions. If I don't bring you around soon, he'll assume I made you up." "What kind of questions?" "What school you went to. What your parents do. What your credit score is. You know, friendly small talk." I swallowed hard. Ava noticed. "Hey, you don't have to be anyone but yourself, okay? That's the part I'm worried about." She grabbed my hand. "He's just a guy with too much money and not enough hobbies." I showed up at their house in a plain button-up and clean jeans. I'd borrowed a friend's better-looking car, a black Honda that didn't sound like it was dying. Her dad, Richard Dawson, was already waiting on the terrace. He didn't smile. He looked like the kind of man who only knew how to smile during mergers or when firing someone over Zoom. "You're Daniel," he said, shaking my hand. His grip was firm. "Yes, sir." "Nice to meet you." He gestured to a chair. "So, what do you do?" I didn't lie. "I work in hospital maintenance. Mostly night shifts. Keeps the bills paid." He blinked slowly. "And what are your long-term goals?" I thought for a second. "I'm saving to go back to school. Might study electrical work. Or maybe HVAC." He raised an eyebrow. "Trade school?" "Yeah." Silence. Ava sipped her iced tea and kicked me under the table. I tried not to laugh. "And your parents?" "My mom's a receptionist. My dad left when I was 10. He said again, as if evaluating a resume with too much white space. Then, "Ava's used to a certain standard of living. You understand?" "Yes, sir." "And I imagine she told you we don't do trust funds for boyfriends." "She did not, but that's fine." "I don't want your money." He actually laughed at that. A short, dry sound. "No one wants money until they run out of time to earn it." Ava cut in. "Dad, he's not here for an interview." "Everything's an interview." I sat there quietly, held my posture, waited it out. He finally leaned back. "You're polite. I'll give you that." "Thanks." As we walked out, Ava squeezed my arm. "You did great." Did I? Felt like I was getting audited. He audits everyone. He once grilled my best friend about her GPA and we were 10. Later that night, Ava texted me. "Dad said you're not what he expected." Which is his version of a compliment. I'll frame that. A few days later, I got a call. From a blocked number. "Is this Daniel Walker?" "Yes. This is Meredith. I'm Mr. Dawson's assistant. He'd like to offer you a position. Part-time. Entry-level. In logistics at one of his warehouses." I blinked. I didn't apply for anything. He knows. "It's a courtesy." I already have a job. He believes this one has more potential and fewer overnight shifts. That night, I told Ava. She looked stunned. He offered you a job? I didn't even ask. He's never done that. Not even for guys I dated with law degrees. I stared at her. Is this a good sign or a trap? She laughed. Both. I took the job. I wasn't proud of why part of me wanted to prove something. The other part wanted to be around people who didn't carry mops at 3 a.m. The pay was better. The hours more manageable. I kept my old job part-time, but something shifted. I started believing I wasn't stuck. Then came the dinner. Formal. Suits. Her entire family. Uncles. Aunts. Some guy with a Nobel Prize in economics. I wore a tie I found at Goodwill, and prayed no one noticed the faded tag inside. During dessert, her father raised his glass. To Ava, he said, and to Daniel. A young man with surprising grit. People chuckled. Ava's mom added, and a very interesting background. Thank you, I said, trying not to shrink. Then her cousin leaned across the table. So, are you guys serious? Or is this one of those cute opposites attract things? Everyone looked at us. Ava reached out and held my hand right there. We're serious, she said calmly. I'm not playing dress up. I love him. Silence. Just forks and soft glasses clinking. Then her grandfather raised his wine. Well, if Ava says he's worth her time, I say he's worth ours. They toasted, and for the first time, I didn't feel like an outsider. I felt like I belonged not because I faked anything, but because I'd stayed true to who I was. The warehouse was nothing like the hospital at night. No beeping monitors, no rushing doctors, just endless rows of pallets, forklifts buzzing like angry bees, and supervisors yelling over the noise. I showed up on my first day in the same beat-up jeans and a shirt Ava insisted looked fine enough. She dropped me off, gave me a kiss on the cheek and said, "You're gonna kill it. Just be yourself." Easy to say when your girlfriend is the daughter of the boss. Not so easy when you're sweating under fluorescent lights and trying not to look like a lost kid in a factory. My supervisor, Tim, was a grizzled guy with a permanent scowl and a coffee stain on his shirt. "You're the new guy, Walker?" he asked, scanning my ID. "Yeah, that's me. We don't do hand-holding here. Follow orders, don't screw up, and you'll survive." I nodded, heart pounding. The first week was brutal. I learned to operate the forklift, scanned barcodes, loaded and unloaded trucks. My muscles ached in ways I didn't know possible. But I kept thinking about Ava's words, "Be yourself." At lunch, I was sitting alone eating a sad sandwich when Tim came over. "Hey, Daniel." "Yeah?" "Don't let the place get to you. You've got something they don't guts." "Thanks, Tim. You know, Ava talks about you a lot. Says you're different. That means a lot. Just keep your head down and your work sharp." 2 weeks later, Ava's dad asked me to meet him in his office. I walked in, palms sweaty. He looked up from his desk, surprised but not unpleasant. "Daniel, sit down." I took the chair. "How's the warehouse?" "Challenging, but I'm learning a lot." "Good. You're not just a boyfriend to Ava. You're someone I want to see succeed." His words hit me harder than I expected. "Thank you, sir. That means everything." He leaned back. "I wasn't always like this. I had to earn everything. Made mistakes." "Like what?" "Trusting the wrong people. Letting money blind me. Family matters more than any deal or dollar. That's why you're testing me. Not testing. Watching. Hoping." Later that night, Ava and I sat on her balcony overlooking the city. "He's different," I said. "He cares, even if it's hard to show. I just want to prove I'm not some charity case." "You're not. You're the guy I fell for." I smiled, heart lighter than it had been in months. A few weeks after that talk with Richard, things started to feel like they were settling into something real. I was working harder than ever at the warehouse. Ava and I were spending more time together, and her family had mostly stopped giving me the cold shoulder. But then the whispers started. It was subtle at first, a glance here, a quiet comment there. Her uncle, Charles, who had a permanent smirk, once told me, "You're ambitious for a maintenance guy." The way he said it made it clear he didn't mean it as a compliment. At family dinners, I noticed her cousins exchanging knowing looks whenever I spoke. They'd ask questions that felt less like curiosity and more like traps. One night, during a big family gathering in their backyard, Ava's younger sister, Emily, pulled me aside. "Don't let them get to you," she whispered. "They think you're just a phase." I tried to smile, but inside I felt the weight of their judgment. Later, Richard sat beside me quietly. "Daniel," he said, Family is complicated. Some will never accept you, but I see what you bring. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Then Ava took my hand. Ignore them. We're building something real. But the tension was growing. The real test came when Charles confronted me alone in the library. Look, Daniel, you're a good guy, he said, voice low. But this world, it's different. If you want to survive here, you have to play the game. What game? The one where you pretend to be someone you're not, where you keep your mouth shut and climb the ladder by any means. I shook my head. I'm not that guy. You'll regret that. The next day, Ava found me sitting on a bench outside the warehouse, staring at my hands. What happened? I told her everything. She pulled me into a hug. We'll face this together, no matter what. That night, I made a choice. I wasn't going to change who I was, but I was going to fight for us. The days after Charles's warning felt like walking a tightrope over a canyon. Every step I took, I could feel the eyes of the family on me judging, waiting for me to slip. But Ava was my anchor. One evening, after a long day at the warehouse, she took me to a quiet spot, overlooking the city skyline. Daniel, she said softly. I don't care what they think. I love you for who you are. I looked into her eyes, the kind of look that makes you believe in something bigger than yourself. That night, I made a decision. I was done shrinking, done apologizing for where I came from. If this relationship was going to work, it had to be real, no masks, no pretending. The next family dinner was different. I walked in wearing my usual jeans and a shirt, but I held my head high. Charles smirked, ready for a fight. But before he could say anything, I spoke. I'm not here to be a charity case. I'm here because I love your daughter. And if that's not enough, then maybe this isn't the right family for me. The room went silent. Richard cleared his throat. Daniel's right. This family is about loyalty and honesty. He's shown both. Ava's mother smiled warmly. We may come from different worlds, but love doesn't check your bank account. Charles huffed but said nothing. Later, Ava pulled me aside. You did it. You stood your ground. I smiled. I'm done trying to fit into their mold. I'm just me. She kissed me. And for the first time, I felt truly accepted, not despite who I was, but because of it. Months passed. The warehouse job led to a promotion. I enrolled in night classes. Ava and I built a life that wasn't perfect, but it was ours. I learned that love isn't about money or status. It's about being real, fighting for each other, and never losing sight of who you are. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.